Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and technically it's a 2v1, where Jarrett Smith and myself, we get to catch up with the new coach of Apotheos FC, Jonathan Mercado. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us, and congrats on the new gig.
Good afternoon, everybody. John, Jarrett, appreciate you guys having me on here. I will be honest, this is the first time in 27 years of playing soccer that I'm actually on something like this, so I'm very excited, and this new year it's gonna be amazing, man.
Yep, so we're sitting around a table, and we're just kind of getting everybody introduced to you and what you're doing there at Apotheos. And since Jarrett got the experience of calling the Apotheos home matches last year with Cobb Christian, I yield the floor to him for the first question.
Well, thanks, John. Jonathan, great to have you, man. First, I guess I want to ask, how did all this come together for you? I know NPSL was kind of a chaotic existence anyway. How did it all come together for you?
Long story short, Jarrett, when Apotheos first began in 2021, Chris Aragali, who's the general manager right now, I actually play over 30s at Silverbacks on Thursdays with him. And when he had brought the idea to me, he had been asking me, because since he knew I was very involved in the soccer community, especially as a coach, he asked if I knew anybody that was interested in being a coach and this and that. And at the time, I couldn't do it, but I knew somebody, and it was my friend Adam Reeks. So I literally reached out to Adam and connected him with Chris, and then I think a couple of days later, it just all got set, and then the train just started rolling after that.
And your experience, for those that may not know your dossier, it is Division II, it is GHSA, and it is Concord. For those that don't know your resume and know your background, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Yes, so my name is Jonathan Mercado. I am born and raised here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Been playing soccer since I was 4 years old. I played at all the big clubs here in the Metro Atlanta area. Concord, GSA being the biggest ones. I went to Providence Christian Academy. That's where I did my 5 years, but I did 4 years varsity before I went on to go play Division I soccer at Presbyterian College. I came back from Presbyterian. I was a little nervous, but I knew this is what I wanted to do. And then fast forward 11 years later, I've gotten a lot of high school experience, gone around as well club-wise. I was at SSA, and then now I'm here at Concord Fire. And, the opportunity to coach Clayton State University, Division II, that's something that changed my life, because I'm someone that's been always chasing opportunities. I'm not waiting for them to just come to me and then I'm kind of reacting. I've been working hard for 11 years with a lot of great mentors who have been guiding me, and I appreciate all of them. And now I'm here. Now I'm with Apotheos. I couldn't say no, because it was a little scary. Head coach, the run that they had last year, Bruno Kalanji, he's a good friend of mine as well. I just talked to him recently. He gave me some great advice. And, it's almost so overwhelming at times, but then I'm taking it a day at a time, and that's making me feel a lot better.
You talked about, managing especially like a lot of the younger kids and working your way up. I mean, how big was that for you in terms of not just coaching people on skill, but also working with people who were still maturing mentally, emotionally, physically, and being able to connect with people, not just on the field, but to bring everyone together and help everyone grow?
Yes, absolutely. Coaching club, coaching kids, it's a passion of mine. I don't strive on I need the greatest kids out here to call myself a good coach. I love seeing a kid grow, develop. I do give my all to these kids, to everybody that goes through me. I give my all. And it's funny because people think that, oh, well, you coach kids and then you coach this level and then you coach adults. Like, how does that all make sense? I'm like, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised just coaching kids, but then coaching collegiate athletes. Like, there's common ground. And each area that I coach, it really molds me to hopefully one day be a top coach in our community. But I'm a big community guy too, man. I like to bring people together. I like to, I took my Concord Fire kids to Clayton State games. I wanted them to know that, I am someone that I am one for the community. So, yeah.
How would you describe yourself stylistically when it comes to your style of play, offensively, defensively? Who have you modeled your game after with your role models? And how, when folks sit there and they see your style of play, in quotation marks, How would you describe what that is for someone who's wandering up for the first time?
Oh man, I have a list of people. I wish I could. You can ask them. They all know. I think this is something that I think I can I'm proud of myself because people, when they do see me, they do know a style. And I'm a big, hardcore uh, FC Barcelona fan. I am Tiki Taka, Pep Guardiola, the glory days, Ronaldinho when he first started, then to Messi, and then the treble. I have been Tiki Taka since the day I became a Barcelona fan, and that's been about over 15 years ago. So when people see me, they know that I'm a very keep the ball, possession minded on offense, and then on defense, we're dogs. We're recovering the ball quick. Now, with that being said, I am someone I'm willing to always grab, other cultures, other tactics, techniques. And it's funny because I've always been people call me like I'm anti-long ball. But as you've seen, the game has grown that, sometimes being a little direct is okay. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? So I've molded my style, and I'm wanting to bring it to Apotheos. So everything that I do is, can we keep this ball? Can we value the ball? And then if so, and can we be effective with it? And then if it just so happens that we lose it, can we be quick to recover it? And can we think on our own and maybe, hey, you know what? There's actually a space behind the defender. Am I technically good enough that I can get that ball over the right back, the center back, the left back, the other center back, and things like that. And it's all been thanks to Concord Fire, Clayton State, being at Providence. Like they've all molded me to like my style now. So, but yeah, I'm a tiki taka till I die, man. I love pass and move. That's my thing.
It's funny you talk about the idea, can I hit that ball? Because I wanted to ask you about like how you find that balance with guys of, I want you to operate within your role on the field, whether that's positional play, however you're supposed to operate, but also not be afraid to take that chance going over the top, to not be afraid to go for that ball. Like, how do you balance that when you're coaching in general, just so guys know to have that confidence that they can take that, not be afraid?
I think it just comes down to communication and preparation, man. Like just that's a great question, Jerry. I honestly, I ask myself that every day when I go coach anywhere. Like, how can I be effective in what I want my players to execute? How can I be effective that they know that when to keep the ball, when to go long? And it just comes down to communication and then really applying ourselves in practice. I'm a big fan. It would not make sense if I'm telling them one thing at practice and then telling them to do something else in the game. So it's, myself and Coach Joe, who's my assistant for Apotheos this year, we did that a lot with our Clayton State guys this year. We had a mix. We had a mix of very technical players, but then we also had guys that were quick, that with these technical guys, we could send them into space and they have the speed to kind of, get us goals, assists, be effective. So I think it just comes down to communication and then showing the players that, it's okay to make mistakes. If you're trying something, it's all good as long as it's being applied, and it's just a matter of, the right time in a game. But in soccer, a lot of it's free flow, man. Like, it just depends on the situation.
Jonathan Mercado, new head coach at Apotheos, hanging out with us here for a Soccer Down Here 2v1. John and Jarrett with the coach. When it comes to your phone, I'm hoping that your phone has unlimited text, and I'm hoping that it has unlimited international minutes, because I imagine when word got out that you were the new head coach at Apotheos for the NPSL here in the NPSL Southeast, that your phone started blowing up and dudes are like, hey, I want to come play for you. I want to come play with you. They may not have known a whole lot about Apotheos, but they saw new head coach, franchise, NPSL, and they start diving into the deep end. How has your phone blown up from a players and a contact perspective about this new season since you were named?
Oh man, it's funny, man, because I'm a very chill guy. I am blessed to wake up God gives me a chance to wake up every day, and I try to get the most out of it. And usually it's quiet. I go to my jobs, my coaching, and I come home. Now, I won't lie, my phone is blown up. Not in a cocky way, not like, oh yes, everyone's talking to me. It's just I'm getting a lot of messages from Instagram, from Facebook, from Twitter, from all social media, just from different types of people all across, all around, the nation. And I've always been someone that I feel like I think if there's something that it's kind of selfish, but I always told myself, man, like, I feel like I never got recognition in the past, dotty, dotty, dotty. But I kind of got over that, and I just been focusing on me. And then now having this, I'm starting to be recognized a little bit more, especially when I go to Silverbacks Park. I feel eyes on me now. Like, I go there all the time to play. I've been going there for 20 plus years, and this is the first time that I step, whether it's on the field, any field, I just feel eyes, and like they're like, oh, isn't that the guy? And I think it's kind of cool, man. I think that's a really cool feeling. But with that being said, I know I have a task at hand, and I'm all in, man, to really represent our community in the best way possible.
And one of the first things we got to deal with this year, and we'll all be there suffering through it together. But U.S. Open Cup, man.
Yeah.
What's the excitement just to jump into? Hey, here's your first game. It's U.S. Open Cup. Keep winning these, then we get to start taking bigger scalps.
No, you're right. That was when I signed my contract, and then I was all like, yeah, and then called my mom, called my dad, and then they were like, yeah, we qualified. The Bruno's team of Apotheos last year qualified for Open Cup, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be my first game. Started. It was almost I was laughing, but it was because for a second I went kind of down memory lane, and I just went through all the games that I've played, coached, where I've been, and it all kind of came down to this coming down to this moment. And I'm going to work endlessly, myself, Coach Joel, the staff, to really put a team out there to represent us in the Open Cup. And whether we win or lose, we're gonna compete. My job is to get 3 points for Apotheos, and we march on forward. So it doesn't matter who we're playing. I think I've learned that over these years, that not to psych myself out before games as a player and coach, and just to prepare. And I know it's gonna be fun, man, because not a lot of people can say their first game for a head coach for a franchise like Apotheos that has a bright future is an Open Cup game. And who knows who we're going to play. We might host it, and if we do, that will be a highlight of my life, seriously. So
when you have questions as a coach, do you have coaches and mentors on speed dial that you can sit there and go like, bang, 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 I've really got to ask you a question about something like this? Do you have folks on speed dial that you can refer to quick?
Absolutely, I do. I have a couple. Tom JK, who's the head coach at Greater Atlanta Christian School for the varsity boys. Pete Peterson, Clayton State University head coach. Kyle Simmons, who was entrepreneur at the time. I worked for a company called Toka, and it's based out of Cali, but he brought it here to Atlanta, and I was one of the first trainers to be hired, and he pretty much mentored me for 6-7 years on how to be successful in the business, and he taught me a lot about business. Nuna Patera, GSA, one of the heads right now over there, and my dad as well. I hope he listens to this one. I got to show him. He'll be like, "Whoa, he would be blown too." But I have a couple others. It's hard to name them all right now, but those are the main guys that I do have on speed dial. That if I have, that's me, man. If I don't know something and if I need advice and guidance, I ask. I'm not a know-it-all, and I just know that that's gotten me to be where I am today is by asking questions, by listening, by watching, observing, losing games, winning games. Maybe I'm a people pleaser, and I think that's a weakness. My wife always tells me you're too nice, and it's like, you're right, because not everybody's going to be a fan of me, and that's part of the game, and I understand that, and my mentors have really shaped me mentally to be confident and just to prep myself for anything that comes my way, to adapt and adjust, just like in the game.
Hey, you talking about whether you're winning or losing and dealing with the mental side of it. How has it been as a coach developing that ability to communicate to players of like, let's say you're in a game where y'all are keeping the ball 70% of the time, you find yourself down 1-0, and to have that mental toughness to communicate it to the players of, hey, we got to keep playing our game. We have to trust ourselves and getting that across to them effectively.
Yeah, Jared, you're so spot on, man. It is a tough, everyday, hands-on learning experience to really communicate that. I, as you said it, I have so many highlights and memories of like me playing and coaching recently as well. Of we're keeping the ball, where things are going our way, but we've missed 2 chances, 3 chances. The ball's not going in, and the other team, you can tell they're starting to gain some hope, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we got this. It's not working," And then before you know it, one goal goes in, and then things kind of like people spaz out. But you're right. My job, and I'm still working on this, is to keep a cool head, because at the end of the day, I am leading by example. I am the coach for a reason, and if my players see me spaz out and lose my head, I can't expect anything different from them. Now, I don't like to lose. I'm a competitor. I'm not sitting here saying like, "Oh yeah, we're losing," whatever. No, I will. I am very passionate and emotional. Over the years, I've learned to control my emotions and to be more, use my communication to kind of keep things balanced, keep everything balanced. And I think when it comes to this season, whether a lot of scenarios are going to be thrown our way, I think the most important thing is myself, my coaching staff, we stay calm, but when we need to be stern to get our message across, we must execute, we must do it. But great question and great statement, Jared.
When it comes to this upcoming season, everybody sits there and goes, "Oh yeah, the NPSL season, yeah, it's over there. Open Cup, yeah, it's over there. A couple of months from now, yeah, everything's cool." When it's really not.
Nah.
We all have places where we have our to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it could be on your phone. In the old days, you could pull out a stylus, write a note to yourself, put the stylus back in your phone, note card goes away. I mean, it could be old school, it could be notebook or what have you. Could be on the calendar on the fridge where you write something 2:30 in the morning and before you forget, and then you look at it next morning and goes, "What was I thinking there?" Or it could be one of those big 6-foot by 8-foot dry erase boards. It's got lines.
Like those.
All of those. Where is your to-do list, the one that you traditionally reference on a daily basis? And what do you think the next thing that you can cross off of that to-do list is as you get ready for this season?
I keep one in my phone. I literally list out everything that I do. Also, we have a whiteboard. My wife has a whiteboard that's like calendar. It's like a calendar, and I write my days there as well because I'm very visual. I think that helps me stay kind of moving. If I don't, it's annoying sometimes to always go to my phone to like, okay, what? So I like to have a visual, like a bigger visual. I think to cross off my to-do list right now would be to have a very successful first tryout, which is next Saturday, the 27th at Silverbacks Park, which is, that's like a second home to me. So it's amazing that, we get to host that there, and that's going to be our home games, as well as practices. I think that's the first thing that's going to be crossed off my to-do list, and then pretty much after that would be recruiting, getting our teams sorted to start training, and then I have a couple scrimmages, I think 1 or 2 lined up to just prep us before the Open Cup, and then that would be the next thing. Training started, and then open scrimmages, pre-friendlies before Open Cup crossed off, and then Open Cup game crossed off, and then after that will be prepping for the season. So yeah, I have all that. It's all there. I need to update it a little bit, but it's all there, man. Sometimes I get caught, and I think I get this from my dad because we're similar. Is I'm trying to balance of being in the moment, but I don't want to be too caught forward in the future because then you forget to live a little bit right now. You know what I mean? And I'm already thinking about May, June, July, like we're gonna go, but I'm trying to take it a day at a time. It's get the team, start training, prep for Open Cup, play Open Cup, and we go from there.
Now, how much for you does it help? Like when you go through these tryouts coming up, you watch guys and you think, and you can communicate to them and talk to them like, "Hey, I was in your shoes. I thought A, B, and C too. here's how I want you to improve so you can be a better version of what I was, and you can take steps that, that I wish I had known at your age.
Yes. A lot of that's a good thing that about me is I've gone through 27 years of playing this game. I'm still learning, but I know this time when I get to see these players compete for a chance to be on this team, I'm going to be able to communicate with them and really and relate to them a little bit. I want players to know that, I'm not Mr. Buddy because there is a line of respect that needs to be always needs to be there, player coach. But I think being kind of a young head coach, I'm going to be able to communicate a lot better to this generation of players. I think this generation of players, they need guidance. They don't just need me or guys or coaches just to say, hey, do this and do that, because they can take that in a million ways, and then let's say it doesn't work out, then they start their head starts going all over the place. But the players that I'm looking for, man, are the ones that are coachable and they respond to criticism well, and they, like I said, they're competitors.
Coach, as always, it's great to catch up with you. Jonathan Mercado, the new head coach at Apotheos in the NPSL here in the NPSL Southeast. Thanks for dropping by for a 2v1, letting everybody kind of get acquainted a little bit, because we know the season will be here just before we know it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be keeping an eye on you, and we'll be catching up with you soon.
God bless you, John. God bless you, Jared. Thank you so much.